Ask the words of my mouth be acceptable to you. Amen. You know, sometimes we get what we wish for, sometimes we don't. Dave, 2 or 3 weeks ago, stood here and said he was going to look for some volunteers. And he mentioned that somebody stepped up, and I stepped up because I was taking up money. And I told Dave I'd be glad to help. And Dave started stumbling, and I don't know if it was because of what I said, or he just got things, but instantly went through my mind that Dave's going to fall on me. So that was a little scary. And I thought also by volunteering quickly, he would say, well, I'll put him down for scripture, or say a prayer, this or that. I didn't know a week later he was going to call me and want me to be a speaker. Because I'm not a great speaker, but I will do my best. The second thing I asked him to do first. That ended up being not so great because I got to fall away. So, wait, beautiful. But I am going to bring a quick service to you, and he wanted this to be a reflection on how servanthood grew with us. You know, how do we serve God by serving our church? So, I want to establish a couple of things, and it will probably be the same type of thing that Anthony and Sammy brings to you. When I talk about God in any of the scripture, I'm talking about God the Father, Jesus, the Holy Ghost. I'm not talking about any other gods that we may have before us, any idol gods that were in the Old Testament. And we may have some other gods. If we're putting anything or anybody ahead of Jesus Christ, God, then we're wrong. Because God is basically one thing to us. Second thing I'd like to establish is the church. Dave said how we serve the church. Well, the church is a building. No, church is the people. This is just a building. And it also is not just the people in this church. Church is God's children. All God's children. We can sing the song, yellow, black, and white, so on and so forth. The point is, every person is God's child. And sometimes we may have trouble conveying to them or reaching out to them more than we do our own church people, our own family. So I want to establish those two things a little bit. So anything I say is a reflection about people, not a building, and it's a reflection about God. I have to put my glasses on now a little bit. Serving or servant. Definition. To be in subjection to another. Whatever it may be, we're in subjection to another. So if we're going to be a servant for God, we definitely have to be in subjection to Him. If we're going to serve God's people, we have to be in subjection to those people. We've got to put everybody ahead of ourselves. Who is the ultimate servant? Jesus Christ. He came. He taught. He died on the cross for us. There cannot be any more subjection to people than that. So, how close can we become to Jesus as a servant? First, I want to discuss real quick, how do you prepare yourselves to be a servant of God? First is love. If we don't have love in our heart, then you cannot be a servant of God. You have to love other people. Church members, non-church members. And we all struggle with that at times, I'm sure. Who do we really love? But as I said in Sunday school today, Ann was teaching, and she asked a question about if you got an invitation, how did you make up your mind whether you go or not? Well, we talked about it, and we said, well, you know, it depends on the time, depends on the place, depends on what kind of invitation. And I said it depends on if you like the person. And that's true. If we don't necessarily like a person, we might not go to that invitation that we presented. But that don't mean we can't love that person. So keep love first. Secondly, we have to share ourselves by being willing to serve. Wade's been talking about Matthew House and how we can help. Any of us that can step forward, do that. I want to. I got to talk to Wade about the certain physical things, but there's other things I want to step up and help. But you have to be willing to serve in the church, community activities, people that are sick, whatever it may be. Next, have to be humble. If you don't do anything out of humbleness to To me, it's not important. If you're doing it for recognition, if you're doing it so other people see what you do, if other people see how much you do, then we can't serve God in the way that we need to serve God. We do it for God. He will take care of everything else. I want to read Luke 12:35 through 37. And it's not about us serving, it's basically about serving our master, which is Jesus. But as we all know, he was told to serve. It says, always be dressed and ready for service. Keep your lamps burning, like men waiting for their master's return from a wedding banquet, so that when he comes and knocks, they can immediately open the door for him. It will be good for those servants whose master finds them watching when he comes. I tell you the truth, he will dress himself to serve and have them recline at the table and will come and wait on them. We need to be ready to serve each other. We need to serve God. And ultimately, he's going to serve us. That's what the scripture says here. Little preamble stuff there. Now I'm going to get into my life, which I think is what Dave wanted us to do, was talk about how service through our church is serving God. My life, most of you know, have known me since, or a lot of you, I shouldn't say most, a few of you, since March 21st, 1950. That's when I was born. And I have had great parents, taught me right. I probably had a mother, everybody's got great mothers. I know had a great mother. She was a servant of the church. She was a servant in other ways. And I'm probably a little more like her in that way than I am my dad. He was a good servant, but I didn't see it in him the way I saw it in my mom. And that's not to knock him. It's just that she was so outward in serving people. And growing up, I came to church a lot because you didn't have a lot of other things to do. Also, we only had one TV in the house. So, we didn't have games, TVs, this and that. You went to school, you played sport, played out in the community, and you came to church. And church was a positive thing because you got to see a lot of your friends. We had a big youth group, so we had a good time. But I didn't think about it in a serving capacity. I was going to church because my friends were going to church and my parents made me go to church. I didn't look at it as a serving. And then when my parents said, you got to take money to church all the time. Excuse me, I'm getting a little drama out there. That was really tough because my brother and I had about 3 paper routes at one time. We went on to Morning News, Thomas County News, and the Grid. And we mowed about 8 or 10 yards. And for me to have to give up part of that tithes to the church really was not at the top of my list. Today, that kind of stuff is, but not at that age. So I don't know about the serving of the Lord in my early years and up to 15, 16 and all. After that, I went on to college, and I'm probably like a lot of college students. I didn't have to go to church on Sundays. I weren't at John and Mary Lowell's house anymore. So I did not become a servant of God then. And I always worked through college. So again, I didn't think I had time or I could afford going to church and being a servant. And you got time, you got talents, you got treasures. And time, couldn't afford it. Tithes, couldn't afford it. And talent, I look at Sharon and Rutel and Joyce and Wade and Dave. I don't have that kind of talent. So I didn't think I had enough talent to be a service. And I was a backseat church member. Now bear in mind, I'm still sitting in the back. But that meant I came in a little late and I left a little early. I did not want to necessarily be involved in what it takes to be a servant of God. So again, it was not a priority. But and I joined the church in 1965, but I became a Christian in 1981. That's when I took on a different life of serving God. I joined the Bible United Methodist Church when I moved here, because we lived in Whitehall. And after my first 6-7 months of backseat preaching attendance, I got involved in a men's group, got involved in Sunday school, started teaching 7th, 8th, and 9th graders for about 9 years, and realized that I needed also tithe. And when we think of service, as I say, you have to always keep in mind, it's not just tithes, it's your talents and your time. This church needs a lot of all three. We're all blessed. And I look at the people here, I grew up with some, I've known some because they were the same age as my parents. I had good mentors all the way around Jnuary. If I didn't do things right, my mom and dad usually got a call that afternoon from somebody, Miss Doris Thompson maybe, or a teacher at school that, everybody knew everybody. But reaching back, after I started doing this and started teaching, I wanted to become more and more active as a servant. And I think all of you in here do a good job in servanthood, but you have to ask yourself, can you do more? What can I do more to serve God through my church? And again, when I say church, I'm not just talking Jnuary Baptist Church. I'm talking about people. What do you do out on the street for people? Jesus says, what you do for the least of these, you also do for me. And that's the things we need to do. And a couple of things closing. Remember, serving God means we use our time, our talents, and our treasures diligently. We use them, prepare to use them to help God's church, which will in turn be a blessing to God. I want to close in saying this. I pray that all of us, me and all of you, have it said to us, well done, my good and faithful servant. Enter. Thank you.
Blessed to be asked to step up here and speak before everyone this morning. I know Brother Sandy's got a point he wants to get across, so I'll try to be quick. This is something I could probably go on and on about for 3 or 4 Sundays, but serving God by serving His church. 3 quick points. Number 1, we're very rich. And I'm not talking about money, I'm not talking about this beautiful building that we get to come in, and all that's wonderful, but we're very rich. We're so rich that, we actually get to come in here and do this freely. We don't have people outside the doors beating down saying, you can't worship Christ. Most of us ate this morning, or we'll be eating after lunch today. And, that's not a lot. A lot of people don't have those opportunities to come and worship freely. Not only that, the God that we serve sent His only Son down here to die so that way, way before we were ever even thought of, He was sent down here and given to man. And we crushed that flower with our bare hands. And because of that, now no matter what we've done, no matter where you've been in life, all you have to do is come and ask God, please forgive us. That's how rich we are. Second point, we are to give richly. Sorry I didn't bring my Bible, I'm using my cell phone. But to give richly, okay, that's how that works. 1 Timothy, I'd like to read 6:17. If I can get it to come up. Command those who are rich. This is, if I'm not mistaken, this is Paul talking to Timothy, and he's trying to tell him how to command the rich people to give richly. And it says, command to those who are rich in the present world not to be arrogant, nor to put their hope in wealth, which is so uncertain, but to put their hope in God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment. He provides it for our enjoyment. That's how rich we really are. We're rich in God. And not only that, God has given us, in Christianity, we come to Him, we accept Him, we take Him in our lives, and then He bestows on us this responsibility. We're supposed to go out and spread His word and what He's done and what He can do in our lives. And that's That's a lot. I don't know, like, the one who is in all and above all is asking us to share his word. That's pretty significant to me. It's not a give-take relationship with God. You know, you got to just keep giving, give all your heart, give all your soul to God, and he will take care of us. That's for sure. That's how you give and you take with God. I don't think that we just go and do good deeds and you know, pat someone on the back and then pray for a blessing and it comes. Obviously, we all know that those prayers can take years and those blessings can take years to come upon us. But if we have faith and we keep giving ourselves to God, and he wants us to have it, we will have it. You know, God's planned tons of good deeds for us way before we were born. We can miss these deeds. We can walk them down the street with our head in our flesh and just keep going and pass some little lady trying to cut down a tree limb. And you know, we're perfectly healthy and she's struggling. And we just, you know, got my earbuds in and walking down the street and I can ignore those things. But if I ask God to come into my life and show me how he works around us, he'll show me these things, and I'll be blessed because I'm doing good deeds. I'll be rich in doing good deeds. We weren't saved for good deeds. We were not saved so that we could go out, we weren't saved because we went out and we did all these good deeds, and now I've got these, you know, stars in my crown, and I've checked off all this list, so okay, now God, I'm ready to go to heaven. That's not how this happens. We get saved so that we can go do good deeds and be rich in good deeds by helping each other. That kind of leads me into my third point, which I'll touch with Mr. Johnny, was that you read that this building is not, we're the church. Us individually, we're the church. And by serving his church, serving him, we have to serve each other. We have to go up and above and just, you know, praise God by praising each other. You know, we can give inappropriately. If your neighbor's house burns down and you say, hey man, I want to wash your car. You know, God's put it on me, I need to wash your car for you. That's not exactly being rich or doing a good deed for someone. It is doing a good deed, but it's doing it the way we want to do it, not the way he wants us to do it for them. So don't get confused. And you know, it's great to do good deeds, and you know, if someone's lost their job and they're barely putting food on the table, saying, hey man, I got this old beat up couch, if you want to come and get it, take it back to your house. You know, oh, now I've done a good deed because I've given away old stuff that I don't use anymore. I'm a great Christian. Be rich. When those people are starving, cook them a meal, take them some food. Do what you think Jesus would do. I think, you know, one of the things that we're supposed to do is to be more like Jesus. And, you know, how do we do that? Well, we go out and we do good. God blessed him with the Holy Spirit. He went out and did good and were curing people that were possessed by the devil. They needed that. They didn't need wine. You know, it might have helped them for a short moment, but, you know, curing them of possession of the devil, I think is a little more important than having some wine. So he was doing good deeds, and he was doing it in the way they wanted. We are the church. Go the extra mile for your neighbor. I wanted to read this real quick because I thought this was super interesting. Just a verse and a little context. Matthew 5:41 says, if anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with them 2 miles. A little context right quick. During the time of Jesus, a Roman soldier was able to say, hey, you pick up my gear and carry it a mile. And that was the law. You had to carry it a mile. But Jesus would say, don't just go a mile. Go ahead and carry it 2 miles and do something up and beyond what you're called to do. And God will bless you. I just want to say right quick, to kind of wrap my stuff up, you know, God has been so good to me. I got a chance to serve his church this past week. Some of you know that are in class and prayer meeting with me. I helped a young man. I didn't know this kid, really. I knew his family, and I knew of him. Lord's been so good. Sorry. I went through a lot of years of addiction and problems, and I've actually been able to use that now. This young man is far out. He's in trouble. But he had a chance to go for 2 years to a rehab program. Long story short, family didn't have anyone to take him. God was poking me, said, hey, you take him. So I spoke up. I said, I'll take him. took him up there. Now my close family knows that when I drive a lot these years, I get really tired, I get anxious, I start sweating, and I have a lot of problems, especially when I start to drive in the night. Y'all, on the way home, hour 8, here he goes, sweating, white knuckle on the steering wheel, and all of a sudden, because I was serving God, He blessed me, and it literally felt like there were angels that surrounded my car, and guided me all the way home. I wasn't tired the rest of the way, anxiety went away. That's how God will bless you. He's a great God. And, let's keep serving each other, serve His church, and I have a feeling that the sky's the limit for us. Thank you.
And everybody, we're going to have volume control issues. Wow, Wade, man, that was beautiful. I think every time he sings, it gets better. I think I'm joking, but he's awesome. Amen. Mr. Johnny, that was incredible. Anthony, y'all guys, just wonderful things y'all are doing. Well, when Dave asked me to speak, I immediately thought about how did I begin serving? And I want to say at the beginning, I don't serve for accolades or for some hidden agenda. And as you're getting ready to see, it weren't even my idea. It started as a young man. I had a recognition that there was a God. There's something else out there. There's a God. So I recognize that there is something bigger than me. Now, we talk about our Christian walk. Sometimes I think of it as a Christian journey. And Wade was talking about journey this morning. And when you go on a journey, normally you want a nice, comfortable ride, right? You want to get in something that the radio works and air conditioning. And you also want the folks in the vehicle with you want to go. But when you go on a journey, you kind of need to know where you're going. So early on, I believed that there was a God, but on the journey, I really didn't know which direction to go. So I kind of went all the wrong directions. October the 10th, 2002, I got saved. Right at my house, on my knees, all by myself, except for God. That was my second step towards serving. First I recognized, then I got saved. And that was incredible, incredible. It's essential, right? It's what we're supposed to be helping everybody else do. Get saved and understand. If you think, you either know that you've been saved or you don't. And once you know, then you've started to get some direction on which way your journey is supposed to be. Now, when you're on a journey, you're hoping everything's going to go well, right? You don't want blowouts, or you don't want engine failure, you don't want problems. Well, along my way, I had some of those issues. Even after I'd started going in the right direction, had a few flat tires, hit these speed bumps, and somewhere along the way, God guided me around to different churches in different directions. I ended up at the good CBC, Tavern Baptist Church, somewhere early 2011. Now, I was privileged a few years ago to get to talk about how I ended up from A to B to actually get here to this church. So I'm trying to sum everything up. So, I made it here in February 2011, and I was welcomed immediately. And I was happy because I needed that. I needed the church home. I was immediately welcomed. This place is wonderful, guys.
Amen.
We need to lift up what we got, because
Amen.
we got wonderful people serving God here. Wonderful people. So I made it to the second stage, and I found my church home. And now, how did I begin serving? I was a little bit confused about that for myself, because I'm going to show you. At first, year and a half or so that I was here, I'd get here about somewhere around 11. Let's say I got here on time in this story. All right. And I would come and I would sit right here. And for about a year and a half or so, I'd sit right here. And when the benediction happened, which probably some of y'all are just waiting for right now, after the benediction, I would roll on out of here. Now, I can't tell you exactly when this was, but I can tell you where I was because I was sitting right there. Let me tell you how I got here real quick. This is my assigned seating area. We've all got it somehow, right? I don't know. I know how I got mine. So I was welcomed here, and then I was so welcome, I said, "Baby, I want to go sit at the front." She's like, No, we're going to be back here at the back. She claims that is because that was her assigned seating area. It was back there. So I was like, well, let's get a little closer. Let's get a little closer. We finally made it here. She said, this is it. This is as close as I'm getting. So if you'll notice, it's almost, I was counting them earlier, we're almost dead center. And husband and wife, we met right in the middle on this decision. Since that time, she's been on a winning streak. She has won every argument, won every decision, everything we've done since. So about a year and a half goes by, and I'm sitting in that chair one day. Now, this part is being very honest with y'all. And this is being very honest because the shame of this is that I could totally get away with this. I'm sitting there week after week, Sunday after Sunday, just sitting there. And we didn't have a pastor at that time. We had different ones. Some of y'all heard me kid a little bit. We had pastors that really talked real fast, and we had some that was really slow. And Jesus. See. And I'm sitting there week after week, and in my mind, I'm starting to become critical of things. I'm not saying it out loud. I'm just being real critical. I don't really like how this goes. I wish we'd done this in a different order. You know, I felt like I'd achieved some barrier because I found a church home, recognized God, got saved, found a church home, and I'm just sitting there. And there's one Sunday in particular, it was before preaching, it wasn't during preaching, I don't know what we were doing, but everybody was facing forward, and it's in my mind, I'm just being very critical of what's going on around here. And it was just as clear as a bell, right beside Cheryl right there. God says to me, what are you doing around here? It was so clear that I kind of looked around to see if anybody else heard it. And everybody like now is kind of staring forward. I said, it was just in my mind. Now, I don't know if anybody has ever had God just get all over you about something, but He got all over me, put me right in my place that day. So much so, I was nervous. I was nervous walking out of here, got in the vehicle. I didn't know what to do, who to call. Didn't have a pastor. I knew Mr. Ken Fowler. I knew that he was the deacon. I thought he was the deacon chair at that time because at that time he was helping doing a lot of announcements at that time since we didn't have a pastor. My wife knows everybody. She gets on the phone, starts calling people. She finds Kent's home phone number. So I call. He don't answer. I'm sitting there anxious. He don't answer. But anyway, I leave a message. This is Sam Simmons. If you would please give me a call, blah, blah, blah. But sure enough, Ken Fowler calls me back about 7, 8 o'clock that night. I've been stirring all afternoon, just stirring. And he says, well, I'll be happy to come meet you at your office in the morning. So he comes to my office the very next Monday morning. It was like 9 o'clock. He was there. And I tell Kent exactly what I just told you. The same story. Where I'm at, been here for a while. And I tell him what happened. God asked me what I was doing around here. And I also expounded. It was more like an idea besides just words. That I'm supposed to do something here. I'm supposed to help. I'm supposed to serve, like Mr. Johnny was talking about. And I told Ken, I said, Ken, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And I'm not qualified to do anything. But I am at the service of the church. And it's amazing since then. Ken encouraged me to start in Sunday school, went to Sunday school. I don't know how it's happened. Taking up offering, becoming a Sunday school teacher, becoming more involved. Recognize that there's a God. It's good. It's a good starting spot. It was for me. Getting saved. Awesome. But now, going this the next step further in serving God, it is so rewarding. It is so spectacular. Amen.
Amen.